Hello, and welcome to our WAZER webinar. Today we'll be going over a few items. First, I'll give you an introduction to WAZER as a company and about our support. In addition to that, I'll show you the machine today from top to bottom and all of its basic components. Now, in addition to that, I'll also show you a cut live so you can see how the WAZER works cutting. And while the cut's running, I'll even demonstrate the software for you. At the end, we'll look at the finished cut and additional projects using various materials. Now, this webinar will only take about 30 minutes to perform from start to finish. So if you have questions, feel free to shoot them in the live chat. We actually have members of our team in the chat as well, so feel free to bring up any questions you have and we'll answer them live. WAZER's story begins as research out of the University of Pennsylvania. Our goal was to take traditional water jet technology and scale it down with more easily accessible components. Where a large format water jet might require 3-phase wall power and a 2 to 3 week training course to maintain and operate, our WAZER was built to run on a standard single-phase power connection and uses a faucet or a sink for water connection. Now, in 2016, we launched our Kickstarter campaign where we raised $1.3 million worth of pre-orders. We took that seed money and launched WAZER as a company, and we started shipping out WAZERs in 2017 and 2018 all over North and South America. In 2019, we launched our 220 version and started shipping all over Europe and Asia and Australia. Since then, we're very happy to say we have almost 2,000 WAZERs all over the world. Today, WAZER is located in Yonkers, New York, just 20 minutes north of New York City. Here is not only our production facility, but also where we support WAZER. If you call us Monday through Friday, you can talk to one of our technical support engineers, and they can help you with everything you need around the WAZER. We also ship out any components you need in 1 to 2 business days. Now let's take a closer look at the WAZER and all of its basic components. Now what we're looking at here is the WAZER main unit. Here is where the cutting occurs, as well as the abrasive collection systems and water circulation systems. As we go down, we'll see that the WAZER has a stand leg accessory. This is optional, but the stand leg accessory is a great way to make your machine a freestanding unit, as well as a shelf to hold and organize your materials and tools. Now at the bottom, you'll see here we have the pump box, which is the heart of the machine. It takes your water connection and creates high pressure water that's fed up to the nozzle. As it goes through the nozzle, it's pushed through a ruby orifice, and that's what focuses the beam into the mixing chamber. From there, we have this secondary hose, which introduces a garnet abrasive sand to the stream. From there, that abrasive slurry is mixed and pushed through a carbide nozzle, which performs the high pressure cutting stream. Now let's take a look at the cutting bed a little bit. This bed is a 12-inch by 18-inch cutting extent. The bed is made of a hard polypropylene plastic. You'll see it's corrugated, and that's to serve 2 purposes. First, it's very easy to fasten your material down using standard wood screws that you could fasten into any part of the bed. The second purpose is to help dampen that water pressure. As you cut your material, you will also cut through the bed, and that's intended. As you make your cuts, the abrasives collected at the bottom of the tank, and using 4 venturis, it'll push that spent abrasive slurry into the collection buckets at the front of your unit. On the side of the machine, you'll see that we have an abrasive hopper. Here is where you pour your fresh garnet abrasive sand. Our machine uses 80 mesh garnet abrasive. We use this because it's the same standard as the large format water jets. It's very easily sourced, and it's a natural inert stone, so it's safe to toss in your regular garbage. You'll see that the WAZER has a fully closed environment for operation, so you can watch your cuts while they happen live and not worry about getting wet. The operation of the WAZER is done from this button navigation system in the screen, and we even have an emergency stop. If you press this, it'll shut off the entire power to the machine. That's a basic overview of the WAZER and all of its components. Now let's go ahead and prepare our cut today. Here you see I've got some 6061 aluminum, 16 gauge thickness. We're going to go ahead and place it right at the center of the cut bed here. Next, we're going to go ahead and use the screw fasteners to place it into the center, screw down into the bed to fasten our sheet down. Here we're just using a standard hand drill to put these wood screws into the bed. And then I try and push it around to make sure it's fastened down. As long as it doesn't move, we're good to go. Next, we need to level the nozzle height. To do this, we grab the nozzle, and on top of it is the level gauge. We seat this right on the aluminum, loosen our nozzle, and lift the nozzle and seat it right on the lip. This is the recommended distance you want between your nozzle head and the material. When done, place it right back on top. Now our nozzle is ready to go. You could also use this time to ensure that you don't have any screws sticking out too far. You don't want any obstructions to run into your WAZER nozzle during the cut. Next, we're going to go ahead and perform a dry run. A dry run is a feature built into the WAZER that allows you to perform a cut without actually turning the machine on. Right now you see that the nozzle is traveling the intended path. This is a great way to check by eye to ensure that it's traveling on the correct part of your material. If you need to, you can also change the origin at any point here using the arrows on the machine. Let's close our lid and get started on the cut. Let's go ahead and take a look at the software portion of this demonstration. WAZER uses a software called WAM, which is our CAM software, and allows you to take your design and turns it into a finished G-code file that the machine can read. Now our software accepts any design in DXF or SVG format. Here we are uploading our DXF design that we'll be cutting today. You'll see when we select the design, we can place it anywhere on the virtual cut bed, and it can move freely. For example, if we want to cut on the top left of the bed, we'll place it up here. The grids on the bed mimic the grid on the physical bed. In the same way, if I want to move the design to the bottom right of the grid here, that's where it'll cut on the cut bed. The first step also allows you to do simple things like nesting. Nesting is a great way to copy your design for short-run production of parts. You'll see that we can freely move each individual piece. In the second step, we can do some other alterations like rotation, location, and scaling of our design. This is a great way to do some last-minute changes to your design outside of the design software. In step 3, we take a look at the materials profile list. Here, we have a list of common materials our customers are cutting at different thicknesses. What a material profile is a list of materials at different thicknesses where we've performed a cut rate test. Let's take a look, for example, here at some aluminum that we're cutting today. Here you'll see we have labeled a pierce time, as well as a rough, medium, and fine edge setting. As we go thicker, the cut times reduce to compensate for edge quality. Once we select our material profile, then we can go to the cutting path. Let's take a look at step 4. In step 4, this is where we choose our cutting path. One thing we have to take into consideration is the curve of the water beam, or the thickness of the water beam. If I cut on center line, I'm not compensating for the thickness of the beam. So instead I'll choose an outside cut. The software intuitively knows to offset the water beam to the outer profile, and because that circle and that pierce in the center are closed profiles, the inverse happens, and that cuts on the inside. This is a great way to achieve different tolerances on your pieces. Here you'll see we're adding tabs and leads. A tab is a little bridge of material that keeps your pieces organized together, so it doesn't cut all the way through. You can change the location of your tabs, and you can also change the size of your tabs, or have no tabs at all. Here you'll see we're changing the size of the tab, and you can also place any number of tabs anywhere on the piece. Once you get to step 6, here's where you could choose your cut quality. A coarse cut quality will be a faster cut than a medium or a fine. We give you the opportunity to organize how you want your pieces cut and to what edge quality. 3.5 minutes for this example to cut a coarse edge quality and get your piece out in a faster time. If we choose a fine setting, you'll see that it takes longer to cut, but is going to provide a much better edge quality to your piece. From here, you can name your file and hit Generate Job File, and this will produce a finished G-code file that downloads to your computer. From there, you can paste that onto the SD card, pop it into your WAZER, and you're ready to cut. Again, this software is free to use and available on WAZER.com. Now let's go ahead and come back to our cut here. And as you see, we're finishing up our cut. As you cut with the WAZER, it's not uncommon for abrasive to sometimes collect on top of your sheet material. For this reason, we say to use materials that are fine sitting in the water for extended periods of time. And now our piece is cut completely loose, pushed out by the water pressure a bit here. Let's go ahead and move the nozzle and take a look at the finished cut. We're also going to rinse it off in the water here on the side. There you have it, our finished hero piece. Well, this concludes our WAZER webinar today. We hope you found it informative. If you didn't get a chance to ask a question, or you want to learn more about the WAZER, we encourage you to reach out to us and send an email to info@wazer.com. We hope you have a great day.